The Houston Texans have been one of the most impressive storylines of the 2025 season, as they've won 9 consecutive games and 12 of their last 14 since starting 0-3. And that all starts with their suffocating defense, as they rank 2nd in points allowed, 1st in yards allowed, 1st in EPA per play allowed, 1st in scoring drive rate, 3rd in passer rating allowed, 2nd in pressure rate, 3rd in takeaways. You get the picture. The unit has stars at every single level, making them an intimidating force for any offense to oppose. But there is one star who has improved his game every year of his career and who has clearly established himself as the team's best player this season. And that, of course, would be none other than third-year player Will Anderson Jr. Now, Myles Garrett just concluded what is perhaps the greatest individual season in NFL history. He is the unanimous DPOY, there is no way around that fact. However, if Myles Garrett did not exist / was not having the historic year he is having, we all would be talking a heck of a lot more about Will Anderson Jr. for Defensive Player of the Year. We are currently living in a golden age filled with elite edge rushers. Garrett, TJ Watt, Micah Parsons, Aiden Hutchinson, Max Crosby, Jared Verse, Nick Bosa, Danielle Hunter, so on and so forth. And Will Anderson Jr. has unmistakably ascended to near the very top of that group. And that is just on play alone as we currently stand. It is not even taking into account that Anderson just turned 24 at the start of the season. He was widely considered a quote-unquote generational talent when he entered the NFL, and he is very much living up to that billing right now. From here, the sky is the limit. Now, if you have not paid much attention this year and or just look at your standard box score stats, you may find it just a little bit surprising to hear Anderson's name in that usual Garrett Parsons Watt echelon. Well, that surprise may be lessened when I actually run the more advanced data by you. For starters, PFF has Anderson as the 2nd highest graded defender in the entire NFL, and he is less than half a point behind the record-breaking Garrett for the top spot. He is also PFF's 3rd most valuable defender this season per their wins above replacement metric. And why does he grade out so highly? Because nobody in the NFL has gotten to the QB at a more consistent rate than Anderson has this season. Anderson finished the regular season 3rd with 93 pressures, a mark that stands 14th in the 20-year span that is the PFF era. But the thing is, the two guys above him, Aiden Hutchinson and Josh Hines-Allen, have played 83 and 146 more pass rush snaps than Anderson respectively. Anderson racking up 93 pressures on just 476 pass rush snaps is infinitely more impressive. Ergo, while Hutchinson's 17.5% pressure rate and Hines-Allen's 18.2% pressure rate are solid, Anderson's monstrous 21.0 stands alone as the only mark above 20% this season. In fact, among players with at least 300 pass rush snaps, Anderson's pressure rate is the 2nd highest in a single season in PFF's 20-year history. Similar is true when you look at pass rush win rate. Anderson is lapping the field in this metric this year with a mark of 26.2%, nearly 2 full points better than Myles Garrett in 2nd place. And this is another instance of Anderson not only being better than his peers, but also being great historically. The only player with a better single-season mark in the PFF era was Garrett in his previous DPOY season back in 2023. There is another 2-point gap between Anderson in 2nd place and 2021 Max Crosby in 3rd place. That was the year Crosby became the first edge rusher to break 100 pressures in a single season. So I reiterate, it's pretty solid company for Anderson. It's also worth noting that Anderson is not just a pass rush merchant either. He and Myles Garrett are the only 2 edge rushers in the top 10 of pass rush grade and run defense grade this season. But again, that's still all pretty standard stuff. It's not just that Anderson is winning, it's how he's winning and when he's winning that make the biggest difference. Let's take a glance at true pass sets. For those unaware, PFF tracks true pass sets by eliminating plays with extra help, deceptive schemes, and anything gimmicky, such as play action, screens, RPOs, and short dropbacks. In short, it's a way to show how pass blockers and pass rushers perform in mano-a-mano situations. Pin your ears back and go after the quarterback. In these such scenarios, Anderson is even more dominant, the best pass rusher in the NFL by a decent bit. He has 75 pressures in true pass sets, which is 6 more than the 2nd best player, and his pass rush win rate jumps all the way up to 33.1%. Again, unsurprisingly, the best in the NFL. And arguably nobody in the league has a better get-off than Will Anderson Jr. 58 of his 93 pressures have occurred in 2.5 or fewer seconds after the snap, the most in the league this season. And according to Next Gen Stats, he has the 8th lowest average time to pressure rate in the entire NFL. And Anderson gets to the QB so fast by a variety of methods. Take the Bills game, for example. First, look at where Anderson lines up on this play. So far out wide past the tight end as if he were covering the slot receiver, like he was playing Madden and trying to cheese for a cheap sack. Except that's an unrealistic video game, and this is real life. But Anderson's special get-off is what allows him to get away with this. As soon as the ball is snapped, he is off. He gives Spencer Brown a quick crossover and effortlessly glides around him to the inside, chasing Josh Allen down and forcing an errant throw. On the very next play, Anderson adopts a similar wide stance. Brown gets a quick jump to match Anderson, but going head-to-head with Will is asking the impossible. Anderson easily swats away Brown's armbar and this time escapes to the outside to arrive directly in Allen's grill, forcing a throw short of the chains on third down. These two pressures happening on back-to-back plays shows there is literally no telling what Anderson will give you on a down-to-down basis. Now perhaps the best example of how Anderson's wide alignment helps with his lightning-quick get-off. There's nothing even super complicated to break down on this play. It's just a matter of who the better athlete is, Colton McKivitz versus Will Anderson Jr. You tell me who you'd take. By the time McKivitz is at the back of his drop, Anderson is already bending around him to hit Mac Jones' arm and force an incompletion. He can beat a tackle to the inside, he can beat a tackle to the outside, and can even split two blockers cleanly through the middle. And what would an elite pass rusher be without an excellent swim move? Anderson's work with his hands to beat blockers is some of the best in the game. The same could be said about his strength, as Tanner Bordolini and Daniel Jones of the Colts found out quickly. Here, Anderson lines up directly in front of the center, again showing his versatility, and with a running start, just gives Bordolini one of the most brutal bull rushes you'll ever see. Within 2 seconds, Bordolini has been backed up all the way into Jones, who just narrowly gets rid of the ball before Anderson forces a fumble. But despite Anderson's insane athleticism, perhaps his greatest strength is simply his pure resilience. Take another two-play sequence, for example. Anderson must have sensed that Dan Moore Jr. is prone to a bull rush, as he slams him back into Cam Ward's lap within seconds here, but Cam was shifty and escaped for a third down conversion run. No biggie, come right back to it. 3 plays later, Anderson deploys the same bull rush on Moore on 3rd and 10, this time cutting inside to Ward as soon as he had the angle. Strip sack and fumble recovery. Hat trick on 1 play for Anderson. But despite all I have said about Anderson ending plays quickly, the reverse is also true when necessary. He never gives up on a play, as showcased versus Josh Allen and the Bills. Here, again, he gets the quick angle on poor Spencer Brown. But being just a tad too deep downfield, the elusive Allen shakes off his sack attempt, leaving Anderson in the dirt as he continues to scramble. Allen goes from the right hash all the way to the left sideline before beginning to circle back. But guess who was there? Will Anderson Jr. Per Next Gen Stats, Anderson traveled 51.7 yards to track down and sack Allen, the longest distance traveled on a sack since Week 2 of 2023. There is nothing you can do when the best athlete on the field is also the guy who wants it the most. As many teams learned this year, no amount of help you send his way can stop this man either. Per PFF, only TJ Watt and Myles Garrett are chipped at a higher rate than Anderson, who has seen a chip on 24.1% of his pass rush snaps. And yet, he still leads all players with 10 sacks, 44 pressures, and a 29.1% win rate on such plays. Now, before I show you this insane play versus Jacksonville, just peek at a snapshot of how it ends up for the Jags OL. Neither the right tackle nor right guard were any match for Anderson's willpower. Charles Cross only allowed 2 sacks for Seattle this year, but Anderson got him good for a true hat trick in Week 7. Zach Charbonnet threw a very weak chip attempt to help Cross, who was getting pushed back into the pocket like a power sled by Anderson. Additional pressure from the other side forced Sam Darnold to spin to the left right into Anderson's waiting arms. Another strip sack, which Anderson fell on top of in the end zone to score his first career touchdown. Splash plays became more prominent for Anderson in 2025, tripling his previous career total with 3 forced fumbles, like when he completed the Texans' huge comeback win versus the Jaguars in Week 10 with a strip sack that was returned for a touchdown on the final play. Anderson was a lot like the Texans as a team this year, clutch, getting it done when it matters most. He had 54 pressures on 3rd and 4th downs, which was 10 more than any other defender this season. It is also a PFF record, beating fellow Texan J.J. Watt's previous mark of 47 in his MVP caliber 2014 season. Anderson also had an astounding 94.1 PFF grade on money downs, far and away the best mark among all defensive players. He was also the league's 2nd highest graded defender in one-score games, behind only Micah Parsons. He also notched a league-leading 61 pressures in such games, despite ranking 23rd in pass rush snaps. In games against playoff teams, Anderson received a 91.8 grade, again, best among all defenders. When faced with the best competition, he raised his game to a new level. Trent Williams may be 37 years old, but he is still one of the most dominant players in the sport, grading as the league's 3rd best tackle this year. But not versus Will Anderson Jr. Just look at the turf pellets spilling out of the ground as Williams can't help but slide back into Mac Jones thanks to Anderson's dominant bull rush on this play. Speed, power, technique, motor. Will Anderson Jr. truly has no weakness. He can do it all at a high level. It didn't matter who you threw at him, he was going to win regardless. Just glance at his game-by-game stats to see how ridiculously consistent he was this season. He finished 6 games with an elite 90-plus grade, plus 3 more games with 89, 89, and 87 grades, compared to just 1 below 60, which is deemed the replaceable level, and 2 more between 60 and 69. A 60 on the PFF grading scale simply means that you were dead on average. You did what was asked of you. Having just 3 of 17 games be at an average or below grade is absurd. Excluding Week 18 when he exited early due to Houston resting starters, Anderson had at least 5 pressures in 13 of his 16 games this season, plus 2 more games with 4 apiece. At one point in the season, he had at least 1 sack in 6 consecutive games. Only Myles Garrett had a longer streak this year. It's that kind of consistency week in and week out that elevated Anderson into the truly elite tier this season. From year 1 to year 3, sacks went from 7 to 11 to 12, pressures went from 59 to 51 to 93, pass rush grade 77.3, 75.9, 91.6, pressure rate went from 15.8 to 14.7 to 21.0, win rate 16.3, 16.5, 26.2. Immense improvement across the board. That, my friends, is what we call the leap into superstardom. Going from solid to good is impressive, but going from good to elite is infinitely more so. And that is what Will Anderson Jr. just did in 2025. With his combination of talent and work ethic, there is no telling where he can climb from here. But there is one thing for certain, my early 2026 Defensive Player of the Year pick is already locked in.